You're listening to America Overnight, always ready to hear your story. And speaking of stories, thank you for calling, Miss Abernathy, a local from upstate New York. Thanks for having me. Before last week, I wouldn't have considered myself a believer in the supernatural, but I saw something I can't explain. My son listens to the show regularly, and he said I should call in. You're among friends here on this broadcast. Tell us what you saw. I was out in the woods hunting in the high peaks like I always do this time of year, tracking a large buck for a few miles, but I kept losing the trail. When I managed to catch up, I found the buck already dead. It hadn't been killed by a bullet, let alone a knife. It was torn apart and mangled, but not in the way I've ever seen. There was no blood. Not a drop of it was spilled despite the carnage. There were no flies around the carcass, no animal tracks. Nothing had interest in it. It was totally left alone in its mutilated state. I noticed there was a footprint in the mud, but it was from a shoe. I wear a size 7 boot, and it looked to me like a man's size. There couldn't have been anyone else out there, though. I would have heard a gunshot, and no one could have done that to an animal with their bare hands. Then, I felt eyes on the back of my neck. Something else was watching me in those woods. I felt like I had walked in on something I shouldn't have seen. So I ran away as fast as I could. When I made it back to the lodge, I tried to ask the other hunters if anyone had killed a buck that day, but no one had. In fact, no one brought anything back. It was like all of the animals decided to stay in their homes, too afraid to come out. What do you think was out there? I don't know, but I'm never going in those woods again. I don't think any of us would blame you. What do you think was out there in those woods, dear listeners? Cannibals? Zombies? Bigfoot? Take some time to ponder this. America Overnight will be right back.